Hello, good morning, and welcome back to When Pigs Fly. Welcome all of our new subscribers, all of our old subscribers. We are having a good time here. We're going to continue our conversation about energy. There's a lot going on and it's changing rapidly. And we felt compelled, Tracy hinted at the word karma, and we felt this is a great time to continue the conversation and stretch it out a little bit and talk about how your choices were behaving in the old energy versus the new energy, and how important it is to kind of have an awareness. So in the Tracy, do you want to, I'm going to hand this one over to you because you had a great example there of um how the choices, how quickly, if you make a bad choice, how quickly it's going to come back with the giving and the receiving energies.
Sure, yes. So very interesting topic. And what I have been seeing coming in for a bit of time now is that we have moved into it. It's a new set of energetics at play. And the word karma, and we can talk about that in a lot of different ways. But as Patty said in the last episode, giving and receiving is the same energy. So karma can be applied to that. So basically, what your intention is will be returned back to you. And I will say what I have felt and seen in years prior, that there was I see it as a tilt in the energies, that they were not, there wasn't a coherence there. So I know I experienced a lot in my own life and world that doing the right thing did not necessarily receive the benefits of being in the right. So you could show up every day, be a good person, be a kind person, do a right thing. And a lot of times it didn't work out for you, and it was a crappy energy. I would say, gosh, being a good person and doing the right thing doesn't get you very far in life, because in my opinion, a lot of people learned how to work the system, how to hedge their bet. And I do believe that we created a world that did not take the good of humanity and Earth and put that in the forefront. So a lot of systems have been created at the detriment of the Earth and humanity, and there has been a flip. So going forward, the way I see it is we all have a choice point. So basically, most things in life, there is an element that we're not serving humanity and the earth. And we have all played a role in that, but we all have the opportunity to make a choice and show up with a new intention every day. So the karma end of that is, if you keep doing well, you know what? And this is the we have to focus on the whole, the we instead of the me, where it's got to be for the good of the whole first. And if we really are in alignment with heart based, we will receive so much abundance. So if we do something, make a decision, try and make money, and we know it's at the expense of another human being or the earth, meaning at the detriment of, it is not going to play out well for anyone if they intentionally know that. Now, if we do things going forward that we know are heart based, they are for the good of society and for the earth is a big role in this now. We've really kind of shit on her. And I like to say, first of all, we're not smarter than Mother Nature. We keep thinking we are, and we keep doing things thinking we know better. We don't. And I like to talk in extremities to get people's attention, but I keep saying, hey, the earth is pissed. Mother Nature's pissed. Do you see all these earthquakes? Do you see all these unnatural natural disasters? There's so much stuff happening around the world that should not be happening, right? Well,
Yeah.
that area never gets floods, or that area doesn't get tsunamis. Yeah, we don't decide what happens, right? Mother Nature does. So kind of going out on
Love
a
that.
big scope here, because I'm trying to express how amplified the energetics are, and that it's very important for us to be mindful in every moment of our intention, of every thought, of every word, of every action. And even if last year that worked out for you, be mindful of your come from in every decision you make.
I mean, Great point, Tracy. And by the way, what you're saying, we have to expand our perspective. You must, if you don't expand your perspective, you're staying small and you are, it's like, yeah, what are you creating? And I want to touch more about this because, and I see this, and I think Renee do too, in our work too. And particularly, you can see, have you talked to any burnt out light workers, right? Or way showers that are coming in and saying, and empaths too, where they're saying, gosh, they kind of lost faith for a minute because they were like, but I was doing good and I was giving and I was giving and I was giving and it didn't come back. And Tracy's absolutely correct. That old energy, and it's funny, there's a comedian, George Carlin, that did, someone showed me a YouTube video of him talking about how Gaia, Mother Earth, has the ability to shake the fleas off.
Uh-huh.
And it was so profound and like, like what a vision he had about that. And that's exactly what's happening. And, we're on there, we're tied to the energetics of the earth. And so, but that is the biggest difference in the old and the new energy, is that we had to get rid of that veil of fear and that all of the struggle and resentment and retribution, all of those things are negative energies. And if you're putting that out right now, it's coming back to you. Judgment. And know what? Self-judgment. See a lot of this right now. I'm not good enough. You're amplifying it. And so we really want to encourage you to know that even if last year having faith and believing in yourself didn't work, the energy wasn't there to support you. All this purging and receiving of illumination is opening up. It's allowing your body to get there and allowing you're just completely being reprogrammed to receive it. So now the responsibility is beyond you. And to create abundance, how is this benefiting more than just me? If when you go to make a choice or a decision and say, a lot of you are saying, well, what's my purpose and what do I, if you can answer, does this better somebody more than just benefit more than just me? You're in that's an abundant thought and you are making it better. And the energy is there to support you now. So it's like, it's like put on your big girl and big boy pants now and say, okay, wait, now the energy's here. Your guides are here everything's here to support you, regardless of what level you're practicing at, whatever your belief system is at. Just be kind to yourself and compassionate and understand that don't carry that history file with you, because now when you put good in and when you put love in, it's blasting back to you, right? Renee, you can talk more to this because she can see this when she's dealing. This is one of her gifts. You can see it. So I would love for you to elaborate on that.
Absolutely, because and I think the biggest thing is like last year was all about, us really reclaiming our power. And this year is all about that transformation. And we've said this, a few times over and over that the old ways don't work. But the other thing that there's so many people that I've seen or even, heard about, they're not taking responsibility for their actions. And I think that's what, a lot of this is what, we're talking about as well, because when you do something and you're like, oh my God, oh, I just spilled this hot tea on me and now I'm going to sue McDonald's or whatever it is. It's like, okay, well, where is your responsibility? What are you doing? Were you driving? Were you doing whatever? You know what I mean? Like, you have to look at this perspective and to see, because you're really opening up this field within your whole energetic body and the field around you to, okay, this is the road I'm going to go down. Well, that whole intention there is like, okay, now I'm going to get rich from this, and then I don't have to work, and I have to do that. Like the thought patterns, and I'm not saying this for everybody, but I'm saying there's a overall consciousness out there that is really shifting it, and it's really very interesting. Where I used to see the overall consciousness in one big field, and everybody would like connect into that. Well, what's really interesting, and this really sort of, and maybe just because I just paid attention to it at that point, but the last 3 to 4 days is where I've seen this almost like disconnect. So picture the overall consciousness as a cloud, and now this cloud is disconnecting from itself. So there's actually three of them. They're like there's two that are actually together. You can see them beginning to separate, and then there's this other one, where this other one is this whole. And I've said this before. I hate this word, but I feel like it's so like people can relate to it. There's one that's like, here's the victim consciousness. And this victim of like, I'm not going to take responsibility for me. I'm going to blame my life on everybody else. And how I'm going to get what I need is by taking from somebody else, by coming in with this form of, okay, now I'm going to sue for this. I'm going to sue my way up the ladder, whatever it is. And it's like, okay, what are you really putting out there? Is that what you want to magnify? Because that's coming back to you in this energy way faster, because that's not you taking responsibility for what you're doing and what you're creating. That's you passing the buck again to somebody else. Just like, a lot of people are like, well, they did this to me and they did, who cares? You brought it to you. Take responsibility and say, I had this experience. What am I to take from this? Well, guess what? I'm not going to create this anymore. What I'm going to now do is I'm going to shift me. Unless you're taking that responsibility, unless you're saying something to yourself to shift it, to change that, it's not going to change. You are going to be in that overall consciousness, and that's going to continue to play out worse and worse and worse and worse for you. And then you'll be looking back and saying, well, what the heck happened? Why this? And if you're seeing somebody else experiencing that whole thing, please just send them the energy of awareness, or just I send them all they need, because sometimes we don't know what they need. Maybe that's what they were there to experience, and go down that road, and that's there. So don't judge it, but just look at it and say, okay, they're doing that. I'm going to send them a different type of energy, because sometimes they've grown up in this field and they were taught and trained something that, okay, well, this is the way it is.
Yeah.
It's not they're not coming into their power. They're buying into the ancestral beliefs. And if we look at history itself, just what we know of history and what it was, of course, they had like, all of these beliefs and all of these things from what went on. Well, they were passing it down. We don't have to do that. That's not it. We've said this before. The old way of doing things is no longer, in
Yeah.
so many ways,
Yeah.
in this field, in
Yeah.
everything. So
Yeah.
take responsibility, look and focus in on what it is you do want, so that what's coming back to you is all of this love, is all of this positive thing, the life that you want. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Step into your role as a creator. Step into
Yes.
your role as a creator and step into your responsibility as a creator, because what you create for yourself, you are impacting the whole. And that is why it's like, what are you choosing? And yeah, I agree, Renee. And it's like, hey, we can all tell a victim story. It's just, it literally is a story. And whether you're aware of it at this point in your journey or not, you chose to experience something, but you also came here to explore and expand on your gift. And I don't care who you are, where you're at right now, you have gifts. You have them, but they come forth as you step into these and embrace these higher energies. And you, right, you give. When you give, you receive. And what you receive. And it is amplified right now, like exponentially. And when Tracy and I were talking off break for a second, we talked about a boomerang, where it it used to be where you could say, oh, okay, well, I did this and it's probably, a little bit shady, and I'll deal with it down the line. Now when you do that, and the energy, like, you're literally, the second you release that boomerang, it's already hit you in the head. It's And if you be responsible with your energy, be conscious of mob mentality, and the look at my owies are still coming up. And look at my owie, you're telling your body, oh, I want more of it. And so, practice. And I get it. I'm not, I get it. People have pain, but you have to say, okay, if you look at it as an upgrade, okay, I'm grateful for this upgrade, and focus on what's going well. So if you're trying to get your thoughts in alignment, what's going well? That's why we say gratitude. And it can be a simple thing. Tracy and I were both just talking about how we like, oh, I love my bed sheets and I love my pillow and that first cup of coffee, that smell. When you indulge your passion, the energy is being returned to you. I love this hot cup of coffee. I love watching the sun come up. I get beautiful. I take pictures of the sunrise every day. It's like that's Earth's canvas for me. And but that's the energy I want to come back to me. I know my friends will tell you this. I have one of my favorite expressions is 80 degrees in a breeze. And like when I travel, I go, I want 80 degrees in a breeze. The sun's in my suitcase because that's the experience I want to have. And a couple months ago, it was what everybody was saying was freezing in LA. So in LA, by the way, 69 degrees is considered freezing. And I remember I thought I sat in the window one day and I opened the window. I think it was in the 50s. And know what? All I felt was warmth because that is how powerful it is when you choose. The sun was on my face and I thought, oh, I could be at a beach right now. And it really is that powerful. So we really, really like, we're begging you to accept it and look at where you may be having some sour grapes and stuff and saying, no, we got a clean slate. We got a clean slate. So now you choose, are you going to put shit on your plate or are you going to put what you want on your plate? And it really is that really is your power. And to pay attention energetically, what am I choosing to give out or what am I choosing to create? And like I said, start with just basic stuff and smile at a stranger or have a good day and that yeah, I was telling Renee this. I was walking through Hollywood last week and there were some like street vendors and things and I didn't want to stop. I was on my walk and grooving but I smiled. I made eye contact with a guy and I was like halfway down the block and he yelled, he goes, "Thank you for your smile." And see, it came back to me. It came back to me, but I didn't do it with the intention of gaining something. It just comes, right? So it's, in other words, if you are doing it with like nefarious intentions, it's doing out of the goodness of your heart, like, and feeling it with your heart, and it comes right back. So
I want to jump in here with the difference between receiving and taking. And this goes back to the boomerang effect. And Renee, the analogy that you said, kind of three components of the consciousness, I saw this years ago. I have businesses and we do, unfortunately, in the past, I'll say, have been subject to a lot of what I call bogus lawsuits, people just trying to sue for anything. And there's all these games. It's written in the system, sue for this, they'll pay you off, it's 30 grand. It's pretty filthy and disgusting, but I do firmly believe that day is done. And years ago, I saw, like, I kind of got the, wait, why are you dealing with these lawsuits just in a real-time physical reality? Handle them energetically. Oh, brilliant. Thank you for that. So what I saw is I put up just this warrior thing around my businesses and it showed me a mirror back, like, no. And by the way, I've not lost a lawsuit since this happened years ago. And it was a mirror reflection. And I thought, isn't that kind of spiteful? I don't want to be spiteful in I just want to be like, no, I'm not playing that game. And what I was shown is you're actually giving them a gift. Because if you can reflect back on them what they are trying to spew at you, that is awareness. And the quickest way to be aware is to experience directly what they are putting out. Because in their head, they're making it okay. Well, I deserve da 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 da. Well, okay, let me put that right back on you. Now, how do you feel?
yeah.
And I think that's we can have all the yeah buts or, again, the victim. Okay, let me turn that right back on you. And all of a sudden the story completely changes, right? Well, that's not fair. Well, that's not, interesting. And what I also saw was that there's a whole mentality and subset of takers, and that's how they survive. That's all they know. They do not know the giving end. They take, they take, they take. And again, this is an energetic, so I don't know how it plays out in the physical, but I was shown that there will become a time, which could possibly be now, that they've sucked everything out. They've taken all there is to take, and there's nothing left to sustain the takers. Now, those that are givers are no longer accessible to them. So I'm wondering if that's what you were tapping into. And that isn't, I'm sorry, as it should be, right? Everything is a symbiotic relationship. And if all you've done is take, you
Yeah.
will have to learn how to give and receive, or your fuel is no longer available.
Well said, Tracy. It's kryptonite now. It's well, because what happened was the fear, all of the fear had produced a false energy matrix. And like Renee, it was like, you had your ass plugged into negative energy, quite literally. And that was why people that were trying to be good and felt like they were hitting a wall, they were hitting that veil of energy. So now in this ascension process, Mother Earth said, "You're if you're bad, I'm going to shake you the fuck off of me right now." And then we as humans were like, "Okay, shake that off." And not only that, we're helping you. We are getting help from the universe. That is this energy that's purging us and then filling us with more illumination, quite literally. And so, but part of that to be able to do that meant that they had to amplify the energy. So where are you putting your focus? What are you focusing on? And you've got to be able to let stuff go. And you can do it in so many different ways. You could picture the old thing or whatever that bad scenario was, put it in your hand and picture it, give it love and send it. Like there's Renee, you have so many amazing tactical things that you can do to direct your energy. Like Tracy said in the previous episode, start to be that traffic cop and then what are you creating? Like start to have fun with this. What do I want to create? If you want to have more fun, go get inspired by something that makes you smile and makes you laugh. And but if you're hanging on and dragging the backpack full of shit, your backpack's going to get heavier right now, right? And it's freedom. You have the freedom to create whatever you want right now. And I know like having faith and believing in yourself and believing in that power and not being afraid of that power is a big deal. I mean, when you first get into it, it's very like there's a lot of unknown and just embrace it with a curiosity and a knowing that you have the power to create. And Renee, I would love for you to add to this.
Well, and yeah, and what I think a lot of this is the whole aspect of, we can say all of this, and because we've experienced it and we've looked at things, it is a little easier said than practiced, but really bringing that awareness around and recognizing when you say or think something, it's actually happening. And again, it's thought as positive. So, oh, we're going to give you that, we're going to magnify that for you. So when you're receiving, really you can ask for help. You can say, all the healers, God, the universe, whatever you want to say. Like, okay, I just say, okay, guys, help me, better to receive. I used to be a horrible receiver. I could always give, but I couldn't receive. And when I said, okay, guys, help me receive, it really was amazing. Like somebody would give me something, and instead of being like, no, 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 or me, okay, now I gotta up them, I gotta give them more. All of a sudden, out of my mouth, I would, thank you so much, and of true gratitude. And I was like, oh my God, did I say that? Can I actually receive this? Because am I worthy? So, sort of recognize and be aware of why are you having a problem receiving?
Yeah.
Because people, most people will say, oh, I want this, or I need this, or, I want a big house, I want peace of mind. You're not getting peace. That doesn't go with just tangible things. You're not going to have peace of mind if you can't receive, because
Yeah.
that is just not how the whole
Yeah.
energetic world works. So don't even think of it just as something, oh, I need money, or I need a house, or I need a car, or I need this fixed. And this fixed being, the healers were saying a little earlier, that if you're saying, oh my God, I can never get a good contractor, or whatever it is. I can never find a good car in my price range. Okay, congratulations. That is magnified. You're bringing more of that to you. But start the energy to these people show up and they're honest. And because there's so many stories out there that we hear, if you say something, pregnancy comes to mind. I've dealt with a lot of pregnant people lately, and they're like, oh my God, I heard all these horror stories of childbirth. I'm like, Is that what you're creating for yourself? That was their story. They needed to experience that for whatever reason. And it's, the whole thing of like, don't buy into that. Be aware of what you're putting out there, knowing it is coming back to you magnified. Magnified. If you don't know what the opposite, well, this is what I've been taught. This is all I see. Okay, help me see the opposite. You don't know what the opposite is because we're in that field. Take the blinders down. Let your system begin to start to be open to seeing, feeling, being, knowing other aspects. You don't know what it is. Okay, guys. Okay, healers. Okay, God. Okay, universe. Help me to see the difference. Help me to be there. There's so many little things you can do. Cancel, replace with the opposite when you're doing something. I mean, there's a ton of different
Yeah.
things. Just know that your words, and if you say, well, I don't know what to do. Okay, you know you want the opposite.
Just
So, okay,
ask.
guys. Yeah, I'm asking for the opposite. Like, give me the opposite. Hey, we're worthy of the opposite. When you do the mirror work, it's that whole aspect of looking in the mirror and saying, we're worthy of this. I receive and I give with joy and gratitude because that's what allows it to come back. And people are like, oh, karma, karma. What you're putting out, you're getting, period.
Yeah.
That's
Quite
what it
literally.
is.
Quite literally. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, geez. So, yeah. So that was my 2 cents. I know we were probably getting close to the ending here.
Yeah.
So I won't go on a
We
tangent.
that these are good tangents though. They're so vital too because we're seeing it a lot too, Renee, and we hear it and you can hear it in the language too, right? Watch your
Like,
language. Especially so like particular I hear this a lot. So if you say to someone, "You look good today." Oh gosh, they start to explain, "Oh, this dress, I watched a woman a few nights ago. We were in a restaurant and she was gorgeous. And she was going to people and saying, 'Oh, I look terrible tonight.'" And like I was like literally going, "Send her buckets of love right now." She's literally and people were saying, "Oh, it's so good to see," and she was out of her mouth, and I was like, "Oh my god," I wanted to go help her by gagging her and saying, "You're beautiful, stop." So, really paying attention, can you even receive a compliment? And like you said, and just don't worry about any extra words. I always say start with just thank you.
yeah.
Start with just thank you because that's self-love. You're denying your self-love in that moment when someone says, or your hair looks good today. Oh no. And you only notice what's wrong with it. Because understand everything's energetics. It's not it's the energetics behind it. And if you're looking for abundance and you're looking for love, you need to give that to yourself first and you need to be able to receive it when someone says and practice. And like if you have friends, I used to never even I wouldn't even let somebody buy me a cup of coffee. Oh no, I got it. Because if you were raised with be independent no matter what, and it's like great to be able to be self-sufficient and be, but don't shut off the receiving either, because it has to be a flow. And if you can't receive the abundance you're looking for, that you need to get into the energetic of receiving, but and just start with a simple thank you and pay attention to when someone pays you a compliment or tries to get you give. And then stop with the BS gift exchange. This pisses me off more than anything. Oh, you gave me something, so now I need to go. I mean, that energetic, you know what? And here's how you get out of that. This was my trick for that. I would say to myself, okay, wait, why am I denying them the joy that they had when they picked this gift? They wanted me to have this gift. And I'm going to deny their joy and get a paddle and just whack another gift back at them. That's what you're doing. You're literally chopping off that gratitude and love that they were trying to give you. So if you catch yourself, if this is you, and it used to be me all the time, oh, people freak out at Christmas. Oh my God, now I got to reciprocate like it's not authentic. It's not authentic. And think about when you're doing something for someone, do I need to give them an object or do I just want to be with them and show them love? That's so much bigger than a particular object or material item. So like really, yeah, we're putting all this out there as food for thought. Any closing comments, lady? I know we're fired up on this subject.
I'll
I
just,
think you set it up, Tracy.
well, I had a friend and she was kind of really tied up about the money end. She was just, I can't get my head out of the money. And I said, well, just pretend like it's a hug. What if every exchange was a hug? you would never not want it and you would never not want to give it. Some people might have hug issues, but what I'm saying is reframing, it's an exchange, right?
Yeah.
Like we get so caught up in the giving and receiving of what, of what's the value. Well, what if it was just goodness? It would be such a beautiful open exchange of you can never give enough and you can never get enough. So who cares about the equation? You just keep doing it, right? What do I need? I'll take. What do I want to give? I give. But anyway, to take, the definition of it is kind of a cool practice to kind of wrap your head around.
I love that.
Yeah,
I
I
love
love
that.
that.
Cool.
Okay.
Well, thank you, ladies, for another fantastic episode. We whizzed through this one. And thank you again for everybody who's here listening today. Please hit the like and subscribe and keep sharing it. And your questions are extremely helpful. I know we did an episode on this, but I think it bears repeating, is that when you ask questions or comment, that gives us an idea of what's going on in our community and what you guys want more of and what you need more guidance with. And that's why we're sharing our crazy stories here with you so that you can just say, hey, that's me. So please keep the comments and questions coming. We love them. We love all of you for being here. And we'll see you next episode.